So you have a Hollywood star who's absolutely at the top of her game. She lands a career-defining role in a massive film. I mean, everything seems to be lining up perfectly for an Oscar nomination, and then, suddenly, it's not. Today, we're going to get into the anatomy of a major controversy, breaking down all the online theories from our source material about why Ariana Grande got that shocking Oscar snub and what it all says about the wild world of modern celebrity.
Right. This is the big question, the one that honestly left Hollywood pretty stunned. After getting nominated at basically every single award show for her part in Wicked, Ariana Grande felt like a total shoo-in for the Oscars. So, what happened? Why, when the nominations were finally read, was her name just not there?
And look, this wasn't just some minor surprise that people tweeted about for an hour. No, this was a genuine shock. And it's pretty much the starting point for this whole entire story. To really get why it was such a big deal, you have to look at the context of it all.
Yeah, this was no ordinary snub. Grande had been nominated in every single precursor award show. You know, the Golden Globes, the BAFTAs, the SAGs, that basically makes you a lock. And to add to the drama, her category was the very first one they announced that morning. A nomination would have been huge, literally historic, making her only the second actress ever to get a nod for playing the exact same role. But in this crazy turn of events, the moment just never came.
So, to find some answers, our source material first puts a massive spotlight on one of the most visible parts of that whole Wicked press tour, Grande's incredibly public friendship with her co-star, Cynthia Erivo.
So you've got these two totally different perceptions floating around. On one side, the source points to first-hand accounts that describe a really genuine, deep bond, a true friendship that was formed under the insane pressure of a movie like this. But the public saw something else. Their joint interviews and red carpet appearances started getting labeled online as odd, which fueled this whole narrative that their dynamic was less about a healthy friendship and more about a kind of weird codependency.
One source captured that negative vibe perfectly. They said, they creeped out a lot of people, and in their rush to feel authentic, it came off as cosplaying. The feeling was that their attempt to showcase their chemistry totally backfired. It just felt so forced that it might have actually turned off the exact industry voters they were trying to win over.
So the main takeaway here? The entire promotional tour became what you could call a masterclass on how to go viral for all the wrong reasons. Sure, it got tons of clicks, it spawned a million memes, but the vibe underneath it all was just overwhelmingly negative. And that, the source suggests, turned into a huge problem right in the middle of awards season.
All right, so from the press tour, the whole story starts to spiral into a much more sensitive, much more personal area. The next piece of this puzzle, according to our source, involves the intense public conversation and some really disturbing online allegations about Ariana Grande's health and her appearance.
Before we go any further with this, it is absolutely essential to put Grande's own words front and center. Responding to this flood of comments about her weight, she said this directly. She explained that the version of her body that some people were holding up as healthy was actually from a time when she was really struggling. This is just crucial context for all the speculation that came next.
Now, this is where things get really murky with unverified blind items and online theories that just started swirling and became part of the public story. We have to stress, these are unverified allegations, but they included claims of a competitive eating disorder between the two co-stars, rumors of a secret social media account that was supposedly found and then deleted within 20 minutes, and even reports that Grande was privately blaming Erivo for her health issues. Whether any of it was true or not, these rumors just added so much more fuel to the fire.
And just when you thought the online chatter couldn't possibly get any more intense, a news story broke that just completely took over the headlines. So let's pivot to the next major controversy, the timeline and the explosive public reaction to her relationship with her Wicked co-star Ethan Slade.
The timeline here is really the key to understanding why there was such a backlash. So Grande and Slater meet on set. A little while later, both of them publicly separate from their spouses. Then, boom, the news of their new relationship breaks. The way those events happened, especially how close the splits were to the new romance, it just created this absolute PR firestorm that was fueled by a ton of online criticism.
And a huge part of this negative narrative, as reported by the source, really focused on Ethan Slater. This public perception quickly formed that he had just up and left his wife and their newborn child to be with his superstar coworker. This idea of a man who didn't fight for his family at all became a really dominant and damaging part of the whole story.
Now, for Grande, this controversy didn't just pop up out of nowhere. It brought back this really damaging label that has kind of followed her for years, a serial cheater.
Old accusations, like the claims from the late Naya Rivera, all resurfaced, framing this new relationship as just another part of an alleged pattern, and that just made the public backlash that much worse.
So you're probably wondering, okay, what does all of this, the awkward press tour, the health rumors, the relationship drama, what does any of that have to do with an Oscar nomination? Well, the theory laid out in the source is that these weren't just separate issues. They all combined to create one massive inferno of negative press.
Here's kind of how that perfect storm came together. It all started with that weird press tour, creating some negative buzz. Then you layer on top all of the uncomfortable speculation about her health. And the final blow was the relationship scandal. The result, according to our source, was a public image that was just in total freefall, right at the exact moment when award voters were filling out their ballots.
And this brings us right back to where we started. The source points to reports of at least one anonymous Oscar voter who supposedly confirmed these suspicions, directly blaming the disastrous promotional campaign and all the negativity around it as a reason why Grande and the film got overlooked. It suggests that, fair or not, all the off-screen drama had a direct impact on the on-screen awards.
So when you step back from all of this whole story leaves us with a massive question, right? In this digital age where every single move is scrutinized online, is it even possible anymore to separate the art from the artist? And in the court of public opinion, and maybe even for the Oscars, who really gets to draw that line?